Hello and welcome again to Steve's Long Stay Vintage Radio Repair Workshop. And before I start, a big thank you, by the way, to Paul Ledger for the Ferguson control knob. Much appreciated. When I get a chance, I'll put that on the radio, and I'll probably put that on in the bedroom actually, because I haven't got one there yet, surprisingly. I've got a couple of transistor sets, so I might well put it in there. Thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. Next time you come up here, do drop in for a drink. You got my address. Anyway, how often, as a vintage radio collector or restorer or hobbyist, what do if they'll come up and say to you, I've got this, either you take it or it goes in the bin. Now, most like wives, girlfriends, parents, whatever, would say bin, but we vintage radio people rather differently say things like, yeah, we'll have it, because it's a life after all. And of course, because they say it's broken doesn't mean that it is. This one is a typical Philips, I think. I'll look at the back in a minute, but it's got one speaker, some have two, this have one. Volume, tone, button assembly here, which needs some work, I think, cleaning up and that. And of course it's got the dial which works on this, and of course it's got the aerial director inside as well. So it's a Philips. Now I know that some people that like this channel don't like Philips stuff. Everybody has their own makes that they like and makes that they don't. I'm afraid for me it's full enough Pi stuff I don't really get along with. I don't know why. And also Sony stuff, which is very much take or leave for me. You do it differently. And at the moment KB, but that's another story for another video. What this is for, the Philips stuff generally speaking, I do like. Philips sets tend to be designed in one or two places. The stuff from Great Britain, from places like Croydon, yeah, follows British designs. The stuff from Eindhoven followed European designs. And a lot of Eindhoven stuff came over here. I don't know what this one is, but we'll have a look inside and we'll find out. This is the radio in question. Before I open it up, the valve missing, which is in it. Looking at the line up here, probably a UL, probably an EL84. I say E because of course they've got a transformer there, so in most cases that means that this will be these will be E series valves. This means that it's not designed in Britain, or if it is, it's certainly top end in Britain, because most business sets with the type with the dropper resistor, which I must admit I do prefer in a way, because they don't actually tend to fail. When they do, they're easy to get around, but when a transformer fails it's more money, so maybe people should be nicer towards those other sets. But anyway, this one isn't. EABC 80, EA something, so that too might be EA something. I don't know. That is an EC8. I don't know what that one is, but I'll find it soon enough. And that looks like it's an EC85. They do fail those, by the way. I've noticed that before. Also, by the way, I noticed that the play got dead spider with 2 in here, half of the course, and done a few things which of course Philips do tend to do for various reasons. Look at that. Ugh, yeah, horrible. Yeah. So yeah. Now usually with Phillips sets, the capacitors it can be in a bad way, and they're over there, well away from over here. Now, why Phillips did that, I don't know, but they always did. We can do that. I bet you anybody it's got loads of these black capacitors like this one here. You can see that. We'll look in a sec on that one. Now these black capacitors, put them in the same bin as Hunt's capacitors, TDC mold stores, you know, waxes, things like that. They're just as bad, just as bad. So something there to be warned of for future reference. So yeah. So now we've got main transformer, output transformer, rectifier. I've got EO 84, there's no problem there, and so all that is there. So now I think the next thing to do, I noticed that the cord is rather too short, so that'll have to be changed. That can come out for now. This can come out for now if it will come. If it won't, then I'll you know, I might well cut it here because it's already off here, you know, so more than one be doing that. And of course the speaker is soldered rather than connected, which many radios of this kind did that, and it's not really a good idea. American sets, the speaker came out with the chassis. On these British sets and European sets, generally speaking, they didn't, which is nice of them. So anyway, I'll go in, take it apart, and show you what else we need to do before we start doing anything like letting power near this thing. Well, here's the set of parts on the bench, and initial things don't do good. Switched on across the mains here, I'm getting absolutely nothing at all. Not a bleep, nothing. So that might be the transformer. If it isn't, then it's something on the switching side of it, which I would honestly prefer. And so look at that like that now, and see what goes where, because something is not as it should be. What's this here? Right, so yeah, okay. Well, in that case, is it going to? It's checking both pins here. So what we'll do, I'll check each one separately. So that one goes to there like that, and to there like that, and that says note. And that says note. That says note. So on it goes here, and let's see what happens now. That says note. That's okay. Which suggests to me that the live on this is open circuit, I think. No open circuit, but it's certainly not where it should be by any stretch. Actually no, I'll rephrase that. It's open circuit. So so there to there is okay, and there to there looks okay as well. There to there, by the way, it's rather low than it should be actually, but never mind that. Onto there, it's nothing. So it looks like the first problem we've got is the switch here, which we can probably put right with some rapid switching. And that goes onto there. And then that stopped working. It's right now. So there, okay, and it's there, okay, or was. Okay, well, I will probably take that out of circuit for now and run the main straight to there. That probably is the way to do that. So, and then I'll clean all this lot up and see if it sorts it out. If it doesn't, well, it doesn't, but it might, you know, it might. Right. Anyway, so with that in mind, that goes onto there like that. And down here, among all the dead spiders and stuff, there should be, I hope, there should be, I hope, that one's okay, that one's okay, and so I think that'll be okay. And the heaters again, on these sets, of course, the heaters are on AC, as in all these sets. So I'm going to take a chance on the heaters because it's obviously not too bad. So I'll leave that for now. What else do I want to check? Well, next thing we'll want to check is the 8-put transformer. The 8-put transformers are going actually. I was discussing this with Jay the other day actually. He was talking about the fact that they seem to fail. Freezing only to themselves. That's okay. That means the secondary is okay, because the speaker's not on the end of there, so that proves the secondary is okay. So as far as the primary is concerned, if we take out the Z80, we can probably use the pins to check that that is okay to the anode of the EL84. If it is here, then that's great. If not, then that'll have to be changed, which is a bit of a pain, but there you go. So I'll find out a way to get this off. It seems to be stuck in place. Right, that's coming. That's okay, so that comes off now. So that's come on, there you go. I'm meant to use some very unfriendly Mark Zuckerberg unfriendly language there. Okay, so either it's on the phone here. Oh, well, in this case I think an either Victor one might be possible to use. So the cathode is pin 3. So pin 3 is that one there, and it goes in there, so it's that one there. Okay, so that one goes into there. Let's hope that stays, shall we? And that also goes to the 8-put transformer as well, so we should get something on the 8-put transformer, and also on the second grid of the 8-put transformer. So I'll set that up and we'll check it. So it's these two sockets here. That's EZ80, that's EL84. So first of all, we check on the EZ80 between pins 1 and 7. If that's okay, then that says that the 8-put transformer is doing something. So sorry, the mains transformer here is doing something right. So 1 and 2 and 2. 184. That's okay. So that means that is doing something okay. Now then, next one's 7 is so 3 here. 3 here. Well, I need to sometimes to get a valve and work out while I'm doing this. It's one of those things which I can never quite get right. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's come on. Right, so 1 and 3. Okay, so 1 and 3. Yeah, okay, so it's that one there. Okay, so that goes into there, like that. And on the EL84, which I should also bring up on here now. Getting expensive in a real 84s. Okay. Okay, so on the EL84, it's pins 7 and 9. Okay, so first of all, pin 3 on here. Should give us something on there. Goes onto that one there, and this one here. So that goes onto there like that, and that goes onto, well, first of all, this one here like that, and it doesn't seem to do very much, does it? Okay. And nor does that. Okay. So it's a primary opening on this, I wonder. Or rather, oh dear if it is. We'll start by taking that out of the way. Yeah. And we should get, therefore, Let's see what that resistor reads, shall we? Put my crop clip loop back on. So that goes to there, and this goes to here. It does not seem very much either, is it? Oh, I wonder if... Well, it's something there, something there. 6K. That could be rather higher than it should be, but don't really worry about that just yet. Now, if we go from pin 9 to pin 7 here, we should get something, because both of them are on the HTL in different places. So if that goes into there, I think this is right. I'll check again to make sure. No, it's the other side. Here and here. That's why I didn't read anything. Okay, fair enough. So that goes to there. And that goes to there. That goes to there. That goes to there. And that doesn't tell us very much either, does it? That does not look good. That does not look good. I've got the circuit here on the phone. I can't read out this yet because of my printer as well, being a printer. So I can't say exactly what's going on printer wise, but I can tell you. Okay, so the cathode of the EZ80 goes to the first capacitor, which you can see there on the meter there. Is fine. Okay, if I went to the to there with it like that, there you go. So that's that. Okay, now from there, come on phone, there's something useful. Right, now from there it goes into the output transformer. On one end of it comes out to R41 and R42, which I think is probably going to be here. Because those two are R41 and R42. Okay, so that to there, it's be something to there. It did do. Okay, reads 10K, that's a bit high. And to there it's reading okay. So there they are obviously okay. Now the other end of it goes therefore back down here, and also coming down here is the other output of the output transformer. So I'll put this up to 20K, and we'll see what we can see. Which is not very much, is it? There you go, that's something there, right. That's doing something. Okay, yeah, doing something. And so that, not sure whether that is pin 9 or pin 7. But the other one, of course, is down here. And we don't seem to be getting very much, do we? So has that transformer gone and taken a dump on us? Be a pity if it has, but these things do happen, don't they? Yeah. So Obviously the valve that was in here was probably damaged by that, and that was probably damaged also by the Friday afternoon black capacitors from Philips, because they do go. So I'll think it shouldn't be, because there seems to be another pin there. So basically, but the case that one is. Yeah. Okay. So I'll have another look at the circuit and check up on that and make sure that that is the one it should be. How else can we check this? Right, R44. Where's? Let's look at the circuit and let's find R44, shall we? Because that looks like it's the one that we might pick it up on. (43, 42, 40). Doesn't say where it is. Typical. Is it one on the other side of the chassis? I know there's some parts on the other side, so hang on, I'll check that as well. Yes, there, it's on the other side there. Okay. So it's that side of the chassis at the back, R34. So we'll go and have a quick look at that as well, and see. First of all, make sure that goes to R44. That should go to R44 as well via the 8-put transformer. You have to, sometimes you have to pick things up in the best place you can. It's one of those things we know. So R44. Right, well, it goes from over there to here, and also to here. That's about 250 or thereabouts. It'll do that. Okay. The other end of it goes to the capacitor, which I've taken off because it's rather being used. Well, it's one of these things. I think I'm going to carefully lift this one out if I can. If we do this for long enough, they will come out actually because of the wire. But basically, these capacitors here, they are the same as, like I said, the Hunts and that, you know. So, you know, certainly change one of them on site, if not more. This one here, hang on now. If I can lift it out. Hang on. Don't think I can actually. I don't want to damage the wiring to the transformer, obviously, you know. So that's the issue here. But if we're to pull that one out, there'll be one less on it anyway. But certainly that one needs out. They all needs out because these capacitors are trouble now. When I say capacitor is leaky, by the way, I don't mean it's leak as in water or what's inside it. It leaks as in voltage leaks through it. A capacitor should pass AC but block should pass AC but block DC, and when it doesn't, and the DC voltage gets from the capacitor onto the first grid of the pentode, the whole lot goes into conduction. And two things happen. One, the pentode is hard on, which isn't good for it, and of course it can damage the transformer as well. But normally you hear distortion as well, so normally you can hear it from that. But always change that capacitor under here, and that one too, which is what we're going to do. After now that's okay, I'm going to think about putting some power through and making sure this transformer is okay off, and then on load. Well, hey, the printer works, so here we are. And this is the circuit in question. The rectifier is here, yeah, not in right now, but the output comes out of the cathode there to C66, which I have just created because it's the easiest place, yeah. Then came up here, yeah, and it goes straight into the output transformer here at point B. Now from there, one point goes to junction R41 and R42, which is there, yeah. Now that is okay. Now the other end of it goes down here. Now that is, so that bit is the bit that really matters, because if that's not in place, then it won't work at all, and it could even harm the pentode, so you've got to be careful of that, okay? Now, therefore, picking up an R44, which is on the other side of the chassis here, and it looked okay. 270 euros, the manual says 250, but there you go. So that looks alright. Okay, so the capacitor that goes here, that one, looks to be okay actually. It's not one of the one of these things, so it's not going to be using the problem that the other of this kind have. That, by the way, this is what one of the Philips early capacitors, the licorice all sorts as they're called, although I personally wouldn't eat one. So there you go. So I've fitted a cable to it, and now I'm going to see first of all what happens on its first power up. This should be interesting. Now at this stage, all that is in the circuit is the transformer. I'll put the switch out because it's not right, and but at this point I don't particularly fancy going and looking, because it's there could be other things wrong with it. But that's okay. That's okay. And so these transformers, they do fail sometimes, but not often, and these rarely do. So that's the next thing. So now to plug it in, the bulb, which is working on this surprisingly, that shows us that the 6.3 volts is working, because the bulbs and the valve heaters, none of which are in right now, go off the same part of the circuit. So that is encouraging. That is encouraging. So something else which is something approaching right there. Anyway, so now, therefore, we know the transformer is okay to the rectifier here. So if we put the rectifier in and give it time to warm up, yes, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but you know, as I don't touch anything, you're alright. This is the rectifier for its mini watt, so that goes in there like that now, and it should heat up. And when it heats up, the sulphate voltage on the output transformer here. So give it a minute to warm up, If it does, if it doesn't, there's something wrong. At this stage, there is nothing else going on, so so I give it a chance to. Well, it's warming up, and I can feel it warming up slightly, so it's doing something. So therefore, if we go to deck like that, and somewhere like there, it should be a voltage. So let's see if there is. Oh, perfect, yeah, that's okay. Okay, so we know therefore that the 8-put transformer is alive as well, because it goes in there and comes out there, so that is that the voltage which goes to the anode of the EL84. So far so good, as they say. Right, now then, I will go and get an EL84 and we'll put it in, and we'll see what that does. I also put a speaker on the end of there because, you know, we'll want to know if it's doing anything where it should be doing, which is here. So I'll get a valve and get the speaker connected up, and we'll take it from there. Here we are, an EL84 all ready to go in there. Before I do that, I'll plug the radio in again like that, and just very quickly check the sockets to make sure the voltage is getting to there. So it should be about 200 volts there when it warms up. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. There you go. Okay, that one. Oh, okay. The speaker's okay. I heard it. So that is okay. That helps with the right range, doesn't it? Right. Okay. So try that again. 270 volts. 300 volts. That's okay. That's high because nothing's connected. And the other end, by the way, pin 3 is a first grid, so there is literally nothing on there at all, surprisingly. So that looks to be a fairly good so far. So again, I shall do what I did before. Yeah. Put this valve in without checking first, or switching the thing off like that. Okay, like that. And we'll see what happens when it warms up. If it warms up. Come on, hurry up. Not got all day. Not got all day. Ah. That suggests that those are actually okay. Otherwise we'd have a awful loud humming noise. So I think I'll try another one just on the safe side, because I know that these particular EL84s aren't in the best of condition. So in goes the second one, and we'll see what that one does. Come on. coming, it's coming. Pens are supposed to get very warm in normal use. That one is too actually, so I'll run with that one. Okay, so the next valve along is the EABC80, wherever it is. Sorry, just a little bit of a hiccup. Next valve along is the EABC80. The EABC80, yeah, I know. So I'll find one and we'll try that as well. The EABC80 is in, and on gram there's a good healthy buzz from the socket there. Okay, right, so things looking pretty good so far. I've not changed any components yet, so that is surprising, isn't it? It really is. Anyway, so well, 3 valves to go in and 3 valves to go to get the AM working. So I'll put them in and we'll try we'll see what happens there. Now, one of these is something which I was surprised to see in radio of this kind. It's EF, if it's an EF. This is an ECH, and the other one was an E. Think of that's something like an EBF89, something like that, which is somewhat rare for sets of this kind, but you know, things like this do happen, you know. So what's this one? EBF, yeah, it's this one, EBF89. So I'll just stop the camera and get rid of these hiccups, and we'll put those in. Right, well, seeing as there aren't any hic interruptions tonight, I'm sorry about that. Let's get on with it and put in the next valve or two and see what happens. So the next one to go in is the EF. I think it's an 8.5. It is an 8.5. So an 8.5 goes in this one here. Seems to be having us a problem with that. Hang on, I'll just have a look at the pins there we are and try again. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. I'll that's not going to go there, is it? Okay. Well, yeah. EF85. Check the pins. The pins, they're all more or less okay. There's no reason at all why that shouldn't go, but it's not doing. These things do happen sometimes, you know. So just wait, and it will go in at some point, you know. So I'll just stop the camera because I might use some non-duck and very friendly language. Hang on. I'll put all the other valves in because they were all unwilling to go back in, as it were. So now let's see what happens when I plug this thing in and see what happens. First of all, the gram, of course, when it comes up, there should be something on the back here. Please. something there. There we are, that's the gram, okay, fine. No long wave. So, signal up full. Doesn't look too helpful that, does it? Medium wave. That doesn't help much. Short wave. Even less. And FM. Oh, there's something here. Well, I'll try a meter probe in the back in the usual way. And see if we get anything on any of these. Let's try. Very quiet, but right now, if you look at the circuit diagram here, it tells us that it's like 6 sockets on the back of here, and so let's find out which one is which.
Let's get going with our first question. It comes from Claire Lynch. Hello, Claire. Hello. You have promised some technical professionalism and accountability. Is withholding Boris Johnson's WhatsApp messages helping to fulfill this promise? Thank you for your question. So this week, of course, we know that the COVID public inquiry wants to see unredacted WhatsApp messages between Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister, and a host of other officials and ministers. But the government said no, and in case the inquiry in court, it said it didn't have to hand over everything on ground privacy in the future working with Johnson. Is that right or wrong? Mark?
So I think it's right that the government should hand over all the...
That's radio 4, by the way, very, very quiet. Radio 3. So, FM is doing something. Well, with all the valves in, like that, that's still playing now actually that. I will now look and see what the HT is falling down to. So we'll start somewhere like I don't know, somewhere like there. It's 119, that's 119. Right, again, let's have a little look at the manual cell here and see what a bit low. And drill. And nothing on AM. Okay. Well, we know from that that unit basically works. Okay, we know that it basically works, but how well, I don't know. So at this point it's time to start doing repairs as we go along. Now in a situation like this, yeah, before I start to the capacitors, I want to sort out and give the button to clean, because that is a very, very common problem on these, a very common problem. I work a lot on Eastern European sets, and most of them have this arrangement, as with things like Grundigs and that, and it's always a problem. So first thing we do is put the radio like that on the top, like that, and have a session giving it a bit of spray, because it appears to need some sort of a spray. They often do these, you know, so no, not left in that either. Okay, so you know, we just the whole thing is spray. Do this. And again. Here, like that, and we'll try it again and see what what it's got to say for itself now. Probably much the same, but it's important to make sure that these things work okay. So that's the first that thing we'll do. So at some point now, this thing should again start to do something again, I hope. A few very quiet crackles, but not a lot else. Ah.
People who died, and before it's even got going, it's turning into a bit of a farce, and somehow it's become all about Boris Johnson.
Again, a bit of some That's long wave on VH on long wave radio 4, which at some point is going to leave us actually, because the BBC are very interesting these days with some of their ideas about broadcasting.
I genuinely do think people expected better of Rishi Sunak, and I think they're feeling a bit surprised and quite let down at the moment.
Tone control's alright. If it's shortwave. There's radio 4 again. Radio 3. Not a lot else, but there's no air on, of course, so it won't generate. It goes a lot without that. So basically, this radio does work now, but obviously not terribly well. Now, looking at the circuit here, are there any things that could be a problem on this in particular? Well, the large capacitors here which need to be changed, so that's one thing we have to do. Right, okay. Right, I'm going to try for putting a brand new, or new to me anyway, PL84, because if that is, shall we say, rather worse for wear, then the radio will of course be quiet, so I'll nip off and get a new one. Well, the valve button was in fact a Russian one, a 6P14 I think they are. Slightly different, but it has in fact made a bit of a difference. I also noticed that the HT was low as well, so I put another rectifier in as well. So now you see, on medium wave, which was dead, there's now a station. So obviously things are doing better than they were when it comes up.
And there's no doubt that they'll go on, be unbelievable like Steven Gerrard was and be remembered. But what he's done for West Ham is unbelievable, and I hope that he gets it, and I don't want it to be a send off, but if it is, I hope he gets that, because I'm Hugh Fletch.
Right, anyway, I noticed now actually that there's a slight hum on it. So what I'm going, the next thing I'm going to do here, the XT is still low, although not as low as it was. But I'm going to change these capacitors anyway, because now the thing is humming away slightly. It will either be heater cathode voltage, heater cathode short in one of the valves, or these. Now, heater cathode voltage in one of the valves means that basically pull each one out in turn with this and see if it goes away. But that's something else that it could well be. But I think the first thing to do is change those. Now it's 50, 50 and 50, which I have got. So I'll change those and we'll try it again. Right, 3 new 47 volt capacitors have gone in, which are actually higher voltage than the ones that came out. And 2 resistors as well. R40, R41, R42 I think they are. Hang on. Yeah, they've been changed as well. And as you can hear, that is what the station I line up on, which wasn't even audible before, so I'm going up the dial.
For many of the golfers, particularly on the US PGA Tour.
That's
I think for the players, it's going to be.
I think that is talk radio.
We've already seen the ones who went to London, the Rebel Tour. They got massive pay.
That's it, yeah. Curry FM.
55 has not yet, not one.
Live. That's the other 5 live actually, because there's 2. So that
Zoomed in on his team, and there's, you can kind of see
that is live and that up.
really happy, but they're trying not to show it yet because it's not over. And
That is live and that up pretty well in my opinion.
They're also somewhat new.
You can hear there. So the pricing. What probably happened?
I mean, it's a joke, really, how good he's playing.
What probably happened here was that the capacitor that we had before, although not generating hum, had altered in value or were leaking HT to deck, which so does not HT getting to the unit, so they didn't work. So if you, something like that, always check. It's power, audio, IFRF, and this was a power fault, as you can see from that. The 2 capacitors, which are about 1.6k, they're over here. I'll just get them for you. They're here. It's these 2 here. Now, just for a bit of fun, I'll measure them and see what they come out at. Because I'm that sort of person. So hold on, I'll get the meter set up and we'll measure them. So here are the 2 resistors in question. This one, they're about 1.8, 1.9 ohms. These are, well, k ohms I think these are, about that. So this one is well over what it should be, because that's a 2 there, 1.86k. That one isn't too bad. But I decided better to change them anyway, because they are rather old. And the other one, of course, is get the meter probe. There you go, and that is well 1.8 again now. So they were probably okay, but I swapped them out anyway, just to be on the safe side. It's often a good idea to do that. So anyway, the new smoothing caps are in, and it's in rather better for it. Now at this stage, there's still problems on the VHF. So before I start changing capacitors here, there, and everywhere, I'll have a look for that. Now most of the problems you get with the VHF side of these, but not all, is of course the VHF valve, which is an ECC85 in these. So I've just plugged it back in now, and we're going to find out exactly what it does on VHF stroke FM. I did it on it earlier, by the way, and it tried to do a bit more as it's been on for a while. So just about hear radio 4 there. Now, when you go down, something there, but not a great deal. And so at this point, what we do is you put there doesn't seem to be anything happening with that at all. So the first thing we do in this situation is radio off. Alright, don't then. I can do this without that. There's still something there, but not a lot. So I'll put in another ECC 83. I think this is 85. I think this is one. Actually, this one I think is an ECC 85. So we'll go with this one here. When it goes in, okay, when that warms up, let's see what we get. By the way, nothing to look for these is whether the whole thing is lit up inside, because sometimes you get one but not the other.
A football club is beyond the 90 minutes.
Again, doesn't seem to have any anything doing, does that? So I'll put the meter in the back as an aerial, and we'll see what that does. But I think there's more to this than the valve, obviously. So we'll see. We'll see. A bit better.
With Lou and Harry. New Orleans. I'm really excited.
Radio 3.
The whole club is great.
Doesn't seem to be doing anything anywhere else, does it? So let's have a not that off. There we go. Thank you. Couldn't do it that time. I'll have a quick look at this circuit. I'll take you through it first of all, because it is important. Also, the rest of it works on at this stage on 10.7 megahertz, and that is higher in value. So any caps that are leaking, there's a lot in here, could also be pulling it down. So, but first of all, I'll have a quick look at the circuit for the front end, because it's interesting in a way that, well, I think so anyway. Here's a basic version of the ECC or UCC85. They all work with the same. So where the aerial comes in, and first thing it goes through is that stage, which is a simple RF amplifier circuit. Yeah, this stage is the oscillator, which takes it down to 10k, and then it goes out through here, through there, and of course boost switches here onto the U or E, in this case E3881, where it works as a pentode. Okay, that's basically how it works. So radio 2 or 3 or 4, whatever, comes in there on 80, 90, 100 megs, converted down to 10.7 and sent across like that. Okay, so that's basically how they work. So let's have a look and try and find out why this one isn't doing what it should all that well. Well, let's have a check around the VHS stage today, because it's time we did. So first of all, what we'll do, it will check resistors with it nice and quiet, as it were, as in not anything on it. Now there are two resistors here which go to two sides of the valve. One of them is 4.7k, which appears to be 4.7k. Okay, fine, okay. The other one, by the way, is this one here. It's there, yeah, so that there goes up to there. It should do. Something interesting has happened here, because this one also goes up to this valve, but this one is also 220k. So again, that's okay. So now we look and we see where these two are linked in the circuit, which is here, and they are linked together on R3. So first of all, from there on the circuit to here, there should be 0 ohms, which there doesn't appear to be. But the circuit says it should be, so something isn't quite right there. That's okay. That's not, and that's not. Okay, so that. Okay, so therefore, with that not connected up to anything, the chances are that the first stage of this valve is not doing anything. And also on top of that, R3 here should, according to manual, be 1k. Yeah, but unfortunately, it appears to be, look at this here, it looks to be 10k. That's I can tell that from the circuit here. It's looking like 10k that. So let's have a look. Well, spot on, but too high. So that resistor is the wrong one, and that resistor is not. It would seem not connected to anything. So this was probably why the red little sensitivity, because if that first stage here isn't doing anything, then there'll be no fun on the aerial either, of course, because it goes through here. So if I was to do something like that, yeah, and put the meter on like that, and go to 600 volts like that, and wait, it should be something there. 198, okay. that goes to there. It's 130, that's low already, and that appears to be 150, and this one appears to be nothing. But listen, as soon as I touch it there, look what happens. Can you hear it? So if I was to put that onto there now, like that, again, listen to that. So there appears to be absolutely nothing at all on there. So therefore, is there anything on this side here? I wonder. No, there isn't. So this can't have worked from new, actually, judging by this, because that resisted the wrong one, and that resistor not connected to anything. So with all these dodgy black and hunt capacitors in circuit here, I could have changed every single one of them here, every single one of them, and there will still be a problem, because the problem is here. So I get hold of a 1K resistor to go on there, checking first of all with another manual that is right, because you never know. And from there also we can find out about that. So this circuit here tells us straight away that R4, it goes through a coil as well, but it's not. But it appears to be not connected to anything. So it goes through here, through a coil, and it looks to me as though I'll also check that that coil as well, but that's probably okay because the oscillator is running. So if we go onto valve 1A anode, and then go across on the ohm meter to that resistor, we should get something. So so that goes on to there. That goes straight to valve anyway, so it's the other end of it is here, yeah, and so there should be something from there to there, and again there isn't. So either that coil's missing from circuit or it's out of circuit, one of the two. So it appears to go to there, so that works okay. That's okay, so the coil's obviously okay, but very little on here. So it's the problem is a wiring fault which is probably had from you, and we've just found it now by logic and the circuit diagram. Always remember, fix all the faults before you do a capacitor change, and this is why. I could have gone in here, I could have changed all these caps here, switch it on, thought it'll work now, bang, it didn't, and that is why. So that is FM.
In the studio start of LP.
Yeah.
And that is without an aerial attached that to as well, so that simple fault down there could have sent us round the block several times, but it's fixed. And now look, at this point now
The willingness to explore everything, even if initially it doesn't strike you, but it leads to the thing that maybe will strike you.
Is this like you? Ubiquity. And these attitudes spilled over into violence. Violence against African Americans and against the new European immigrants.
It was also associated at the same time in
it meant that we want you to talk about the drums for this whole entire interview, but let's just kind of set up, I suppose, maybe how they were built into the album.
Bill, so it's just the drummer. All of this containing white power and making sure that it didn't get biologically, I'm doing that very much in air quotes, that it didn't get, that the basis of white superiority wasn't racially undermined.
There we are. That is working again. And now at this point, we can go through and we can change all these capacitors because we know we've got all the faults in this set which weren't capacitor related, which was actually a lot of them out and sorted. So now and only now can we go out there in here and change that and that and that and that and various others. So I do that, and then of course try it again. When you're changing these capacitors, by the way, doing a cap change like this, one thing I will say that I think very important in these situations, and that is that if you change them all in one go and then switch it on, it doesn't work. The fault could be anywhere, anything you've done. So change one or two, try it. Change one or two, try it. Change one or two, try it. I've now changed all the capacitors in this that needed to be changed, and
Revelation again this season, hasn't he? And there's a bit of
That's
talk about
5 Live.
Kovacic coming in.
that's Radio 4 long wave. Somewhere around here. There is some life on sort of, but not like this time of night and this time of year. And of course,
The tone, minor 7, A major.
there's VHF with its usual high quality.
We got it all.
Playing its usual. We'll go back on Radio 3. So then, it's okay to sort out all the stuff that we need to sort out to make it right. First of all, the mains lead. A bit of a clean, and the cabinet as well. Now the mains lead on this went through the on-off switch, which is on here, but I took that out. I don't particularly like switching those on voltages to that, and any radio of this kind, don't switch it off here or on the on-off switch or the TV. You switch on the mains plug, because you never have anything like this running without yourself in the room. Very, very important that. The old kit, and although it's probably perfectly safe, it's often not a good idea to leave that and hope for the best, because something might happen. If you're in the room, you can knock it straight away. If you're not, and something happens, you don't know possibly until it's too late. So always, always, always do what I've done here. Switch on the mains plug. Very, very important. And here's the set almost finished. All it wanted was a few caps and a couple of valves, which had in stock. And
Joe, Sky Lambo, mate. How do you sum up that win, and what does it mean to you as a group?
I certainly have.
and so on and so forth.
coming under the radar. There's a real good group of good teams this year, so everyone's going to keep beating each other, and it's going to be up until the end of the season. We just need to make sure we're there or thereabouts at the end of the year, and then we know what to do in final.
Yeah, what I've done here, by the way, is I've cleaned all the knobs inside. I've put the new cable on rather better, and now of course all I've got to do is put the back on, and which isn't here actually, but that is for the area in the back, so I'll put that on. And these sets have something which is quite nice actually. Those of us who mend such things, and that is that underneath there is not a solid cover, but one of these which will come off, and I don't get access to most of it. I treated this thing out completely because of course I wanted to make some of it clean again, but yeah, so I'll do those and come back to you presently. Well, here it is working again after
Absolutely. We're going to be a global
after its various this thing.
People who like him through Partygate, who come.
Already expressed deeply
That's the radio for a long
remarks
way.
about my
Shortwave, well,
and trusting of me to think that these proceedings could be remotely useful or fair.
like I said, there we are. It's booking radio again after all this time.
It was the same faith in the impartiality of our systems that led me to commission Sue Gray.
So there we are. It cost me nothing. All I had to do was change the 3 capacitors and find a rather interesting fault, which is probably had from new on the VHF side. So this set has never ever had VHF as good as that in its life until today. So that's something in itself. AM is slowly but surely dying on us. There will be at some point in here a local transmitter for AM as well. Shortwave is already dead as far as I can tell. But yeah, so it is a working radio. It's a Philips set from 1954. Now Philips and Mullard were very closely linked, of course. They weren't making plants up here actually, and the thing is that because of that, Philips were light years ahead of even them, because they had the first pick of all the new valves that came out from Mullard, and so this set was one of the first ones with the ECC85 front end for VHF, and it worked very well too, as I've heard. So, like I said, it was either me or the bin. I hope that I've given it a new lease of life, which it
We need to show how
which it needed.
Brexit, and we need in the next month to be setting out a pro-growth and pro-investment agenda.
So there you are. It's working radio again after all this time.
Pre-election gimmicks, rather than endlessly putting them up.
So until next time, here in Steve's Longstay Vintage Radio Workshop, good luck and goodbye to everybody out there in the internet land. Whoever your God is, be faithful to him, be nice to each other, and of course fix radios. Until next time, goodbye and God bless. Your God, whoever he is. Bye bye.
Remember that more than 17 million voted for Brexit. I'm now being forced out of Parliament by a tiny handful of people with no evidence to back up their assertions, and without the approval even of Conservative Party members